Hello and welcome to episode 976.
Hello and welcome to episode 155 of Michael and Ivanka's Grand Podcast, a weekly podcast where we figure out what we think about every single distinct thing in the entire universe. My name's Michael Forrest.
And I'm Ivanka Majic.
And this is definitely, I don't know why it took 150 episodes to come up with what the podcast is, but I think this is, I think that describes it.
It's true.
And has described it from the start. So what took so long? Do we need a copywriter? Do we need to do better?
I think maybe we do.
Okay, sorry. Throwing curveballs.
I wasn't ready for this conversation.
With this week, we're going to talk about how's Brexit going?
Really well.
It's going, everyone, I think we can all agree, it was a brilliant idea from the start.
Very well planned out. And all the consequences could be anticipated.
I'm in London.
And I'm in the EU.
He's in the EU. Luckily has citizenship where she is, where you are. What am I doing? I'm talking for you. What a manly thing to do. We've had, fundamentally it's a bad idea to change two things at the same time. So the fact that it's simultaneous with COVID has meant that it's really hard to sort of untangle what's really causing the problem or how much each of those things has made everything worse. You know, it's more of a degree by which, so we can see how that's going. And I heard someone complaining about frickin' bendy bananas again on the radio not 2 weeks ago. So it's
exhausting.
Not being particularly expert in, I haven't necessarily been reading anything more than headlines. Yeah, listen to this. We're so informed. We're going to just regurgitate some thoughts that we had on the basis of some headlines that we glanced over whilst being too busy to really read the articles in detail.
Yes, yeah.
And that's the episode. Hopefully we'll have a good time, though. How's it going, Ivanka? How's your week been?
Very tired, Michael.
Oh.
The child got food poisoning.
Yikes.
It was my fault. I should have.
When you first said that you told me before that the child had food poisoning, it didn't immediately occur to me that it was your fault.
Well, it is.
I'm like, well, it's not the child's fault, is it?
No. So, as the parent, you have some basic responsibilities when they're little. As I argue with her regularly, when your teeth become your responsibility, you can decide whether or not to brush them. While I'm in charge of your teeth, you're brushing them twice a day. That kind of a conversation. But in this instance, I should have advised her against buying an ice cream from the little corner shop on an island in a country where the locals don't eat ice cream out of season because cold. Yeah. And so, anyway, she was very sick and had a very high temperature, and she's never ill. And so, therefore, I freak out. I'm like, oh my God, the child was got me. I know. So I try to remain calm and not show her that I'm freaking out. So, have
you considered holding, perhaps litigating and blaming and getting into some sort of endless spiral of legal proceedings and debt against your local
the ice cream provider?
No, ice cream provider.
I was going to pop in and go, just to let you know, your ice cream's off. But I went to the said kiosk and the lady wasn't actually in it, even though it was open at the time. So I was like, I haven't got time to wait.
Next time.
Maybe tomorrow morning that could be an outing for us.
Well, I gave my child food poisoning.
Now else
what are you going to do about it? Maybe they'll refund the ice cream.
So yes, that's made me tired. I doubt it. What proof have you got that it was my ice cream? All right, love. I'm just saying, try not to poison people. So that's made me tired. I have to say, because the night, and then I've got one of these mesh things for your interwebs in your house to stretch out the signal. I found there's a Croatian supplier that rents you. You don't have to spend the 12 million euros to buy the device. You can just sort of rent it, subscribe to it, and it worked beautifully. And then we went away for a week, and when I came back, it didn't work, and I just didn't have the patience to spend 2 hours resetting everything and hard resets and, turn around, touch your toes and all that thing that sometimes happens with these kind of things. Yeah. But I did it the other night, but it involved me staying up till midnight. So now my internet works beautifully, but I'm also tired because of that. So overall, I'm tired. That's my word of the week. Tired.
That's no good. I remember the days of Windows ME. Was it ME? And like when it was the first networky things. And just from there, for the next couple of years, like every other Sunday would be entirely consumed with networking issues.
Yes.
I would lose every other Sunday to it. And I'm grateful that routers settled down, things got okay. But I want to get Sharon's parents one of those Wi-Fi extender things as well, so I can go to the annals of the house to record this, perhaps.
Yeah. So it's worth having. Oh, also big news in our house: we have ordered ourselves a proper screen for our projector.
Right, nice.
Because we did have one that we bought on the market for £5, which is a 1950s one, which was lovely.
Yeah.
And we did the reuse something before we buy a new one. But this is really a game changer. It's so nice watching a film of an evening. Right. It's like a full cinema. It's just a thing
of
beauty.
Electrical?
No, you have to pull it down. But it's just
not that good then.
Watch the video to see me flipping Michael the V's and putting a face.
I did it earlier, but it was a joke because she hasn't got her glasses on, and now she's taking revenge.
So that's delightful. Very
excellent.
So I'm very happy with that. Yes,
I find just a telly was just so much better than a projector.
Well, yeah. We've gone
just
down
once in the daytime as well. It's just nice, but maybe that's a curse.
I really don't know. I mean, we don't have that habitual telly thing running. The child complains that she doesn't have a telly and everyone else does. And we go, them's the breaks.
It sounds good. It sounds like an upgrade. How's your sound? Sorry.
Sounds good.
I don't want to,
sounds good.
Sounds good. That's important.
So, we're all good. There was something else I thought of telling you, but I'm not going to because I can't remember what it was. Great story.
Cool.
And how are you, Michael?
I am such an MFing businessman, which stands for Michael Forresting Businessman.
Right.
This is what I do. I make a report. I see a number that's low. I make a decision. I execute on it, and I change that number by thousands of % every single time. And this is going to keep going
every week.
Every single time I try and do anything, it's going to be. This time I wanted to change my Changes app from 0.25% conversion rate by changing it from a paid app to a free download app with some premium unlockable features in it, and I have changed my conversion rate by not 1 or 2 or 3, but 5,000% from the last time. The conversion rate wasn't 0. But yeah, so
what?
So yeah,
well done, Michael. Well done.
Thousands of %. I'm just owning this. I'm just hitting my stride. I'm going to be so rich. The numbers are just going to going up, and they're going to just keep going up every week forever. There's no doubt in my mind
until you're a gazillionaire.
The truth of this fact. Soon I will just own all of the world's wealth. According to the curve as it currently stands, my trajectory
you're taking over.
Has no limits. But yeah, so I'm quite proud of myself for that.
Well done.
Changes app is free, and but something I just wanted to sort of like run something past you is I spent yesterday doing this. I want to do more little sort of proactive sort of meme data visualizations within. Sorry, I'm watching too much Twitch. Are you memeing? That's a thing.
Is it?
Yeah, I think he's just memeing, which is distinct from trolling. So I don't even know. Like I'm learning. I'm getting the hang of it. I've unlocked some emotes. I used my Prime sub on Limmy. Got him to say my name. All things like that. But anyway, that's by the by. I did this. So the first one in my list of ideas was like, am I a Monday person? And there's the Harley Davidson proving the size of this man's penis. was hoping that the person revving outside my window would be revving for a reason rather than just to rev it, but I'm going to continue anyway.
Okay.
So if there's a background noise, I apologise. Right, so I was doing this thing, like, I thought, like, I'll just do this thing where it's like, are you a Monday person or not? Because I sort of feel like Mondays aren't my favourite. And so yesterday, I actually, like, so I've made this, like, virtual augmented reality, like, little. It's a coffee cup, and if you're not a Monday person, it's going to fall over and coffee's going to go everywhere and the pen's going to leak. And if you are a Monday person, maybe like marshmallows will drop into your nice coffee. But there's a little notepad with like the numbers. So it's like, am I a Monday person? Yes or no. And then it's got like, okay, here's the times of day. And then it's got like how many happies and how many unhappies. And so I ran the numbers yesterday and it said, yes, you are a Monday person. And I tweeted that out. But I've got this quandary, which is I think negative things have more of a psychological resonance than positive things, right? So criticism needs 7 compliments to cancel out. Ooh. And I'm trying to figure out, like, would it be better to do a psychological calculation and like divide all the happy ratings by 7 and then see if I'm a Monday person? Because those bad Mondays have a bit more psychological strength than the ones where it's just fine and, you had a good weekend or whatever. Or is it part of the selling point of the app that by seeing this data showing you that you had 77 happy ratings on a Monday versus 20 negative ratings, isn't maybe that the point of the app? To show you that objectively you're usually fine on Mondays, but it's just once in a while.
I vote for the latter. I think trying to examine whether you go, yes, but that happiness is only worth a seventh of the unhappiness doesn't really help you in any way. Other than to go, I was right, I don't like Mondays.
I feel like if you just reinforce someone's negative idea, then what's that really adding?
But also, isn't the point of measuring as well to go to remove that negative effect in some way? To go, yeah. So it's like, okay, yes, if you without the measuring, you're like something bad happened. Now I need 7 positives to make the negative go away. But actually, you're by adding the objectivity. So in conclusion, proceed.
I think
enjoy
I'm
Mondays.
Put, why don't I feel like it? And then maybe a link to a thing that shows the negative, and just like maybe as a little kind of to help people. Because I think it'd be quite fun as well. Like lots of people going, the data doesn't lie. No, and I think this is quite an easy win for actually your perception is inaccurate, and that's the whole point of this app. Okay, this is going to be an advert for Changes from the website. Changes is an app that helps you every day to mindfully write down what's going on. It lets you track who or what is making you happy or sad, and when you track changes in your life, you can see what worked and what didn't. If you're not sure you're on the right track, Changes can help you figure it out. If you support us on Patreon, I will never do this again. Also, if you want the app, go to goodtohear.co.uk/changes because we need soundproof rooms to record this podcast. How is Brexit going?
Well,
I think I think it's good that we're not necessarily reading all the headlines, because really what matters is how are people that are actually experiencing it, isn't it? So our stories are valuable. So how? Well, sorry to interrupt.
Let me tell you this. Yesterday, I had to pay 30 odd euros for a parcel that I ordered from Wool and the Gang, which is one of the projecty things keeping me sane, which I sort of expected, and I ordered the parcel anyway in the new year. So 2 things. One, it's taken ages for the parcel to arrive, and it hasn't arrived yet because it was stuck in customs. So that's happened for that. It's happened for, but they did very kindly refund me, and I emailed them just to say, hi, just to let you know I had to pay this. I expected it, but this is how much it was in case you need to do some sums or warn people. And they refunded me, so thank you, Wool and the gang. But the Brexit thing, because Croatia is the kind of country where everything will go to customs. They're not going to, act like I've ordered stuff from the States to England.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get customs has an examination and sends you a bill, and sometimes it doesn't. And there's a bit of here they'll put everything in. Then I had a call the other week because a company I'd done some work for sent me a box of chocolates from London. And then, this one, the Wool and the Gang one, at least all I did was get a link. Here, can you click here to pay? Done. Okay, I will. This one sent me this very Croatian style customer service conversation of what you've ordered a parcel. How much is it worth? I was like, I have absolutely no clue what it is, and now that you've told me about it, you've spoilt the surprise, and I don't know how much it's worth because I am the recipient of the gift. I am not the orderer of the gift.
Brexit casualty number 1. A nice surprise.
A nice surprise.
For Ivanka.
For me. A nice box of chocolates from London. And they bet they were well posh. And no, I still don't know where they are.
Have you found out how much they're worth?
No, I got grumpy. See, because the guy was so grumpy with me, I was grumpy back. Because sometimes with Croatian customer service, there is 9 times out of 10, I kill them with kindness. In that kind of like, oh, thank you so much for giving me more paperwork to do. That is brilliant. But yesterday, whatever it was last week, I just went, I don't know, ask the sender. Why are you asking me? So, well, what is this firm, the chocolate? And then they looked up the chocolate manufacturer. I was like, I have never heard of these chocolates in my life. I don't know. Your DHL, whoever you are, DPD or BD, blah, 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 you work it out. But I think it's the job of the shippers. Anyway, so that's my little Brexit experience. I don't know if my child's going to get any of her birthday presents from the grannies either. We'll see how that works. So yes, there you go.
Who do you think people are going to blame for this sort of thing?
The EU.
The EU is going to get blamed for having customs.
How dare they?
How dare they?
Dare they charge us because
we're special. We're British.
Well, I have heard from there's people who voted Brexit in the wider family, and they do that. But surely nothing will change. You used to send parcels before. I was like, and when I was living in Yugoslavia as a child, I didn't get any of my parcels, and there was always duty to pay. Do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't the good old days; it was the old days. It's like, and every time my grandpa would have to go, like, I don't know, whatever. Second-hand cardigan. It's a gift, and just try and make it look as gifty and worthless as possible to try and send me a birthday. But you know what I mean?
I was hearing a thing about people saying, like, before Brexit. Before we joined the EU and sort of saying, we'll just go back to how it was before with the trucks crossing the channel. And I just heard someone saying, there was a customs person saying, like, oh, yeah, Nigel Farage says it takes like 7 seconds to fill out the form. But what about the actual preparing and inspecting the physical thing and doing all that? Like, that takes 2 hours. So shut up, Nigel. But then also saying, like, before the EU, like, there was 800,000 trucks per year crossing the channel. Now, like, since the Eurotunnel's been built, there's 4.5 million trucks per year coming across the channel. And for anyone to say, like, this is going to be the same, it's just so dumb.
So dumb. I mean, when we drove across Europe when I was a kid, and I know that was multiple borders, it used to take 4 or 5 days to drive from England to Yugoslavia because every single border crossing would take 2 or 3 hours. Because someone's a bit dodgy, we'll look in your car, can you open your boot, madam, what about your, stuff that takes time. And that's because they have a job to charge duty if you are importing or exporting something that you shouldn't be, that you owe duty on. Because if they don't charge, you've effectively smuggled it. Yeah. It is smuggling.
And we used to do that. We used to do the drive to Cologne from Luton every year or so. And I sort of remember that was just a nightmare because the car would break down in France or something and we'd have to get a tow truck. You don't even want to know. This car was the least reliable car ever. But But I'll be honest, like I didn't even know about the Schengen zone until we drove my stuff to Germany in 2014, and it was like, haven't we been crossing? When are we crossing the border? And it's like, no, that's not a thing anymore. I'm like, flipping love the EU. That's brilliant.
Well, it's like
and I can go and live in another country without really having to do anything.
Yeah, but Michael, that's how we've got all these immigrants and all these refugees. Because if there were border checks, then the people just wouldn't be able to move around. We'd have immigrants. We wouldn't have. I mean, there is. Joking aside, there are problems on the edges of the EU, like Bosnia and Herzegovina, like Croatia, because it's now Croatia's job to defend the borders of the EU, and they're not in the Schengen zone yet because you have to prove that you're. I don't know, like so. It's it's not such a joke. It's a serious matter. But
from a user perspective, pretty cool.
Well, I think as a civilized world with enough stuff to go round, let people in, give them. We've had this conversation.
Well, with enough stuff, to go round in principle, but unfortunately in practice, hoarded. So,
oh my God, I saw this stat the other day, which might be utterly made up, but maybe it isn't. It was on Facebook, so I don't know.
Probably true.
94% of the world's wealth is held by 1,130 people.
It's cool, isn't it? Like, but they do eat a lot of food and do need a lot of houses. So
fair dues.
Don't be too quick to judge. Get 1,000 people out of the impossible to actually picture with a human brain 7 billion. Like, it's actually impossible to picture. It's actually impossible for us to even understand what that proportion is. Yeah. So let's I'll go with it. Sounds right to me.
Nick and I discussed it on our run. This must kind of topic we have running along. Do you know what I saw on Facebook yesterday? It's like 1,000 people you can actually invite to a hall and they can fit in. Like, it's not it's like you could learn all their names. You could go, hello, and it's like maybe that's what we should add at the end of every podcast, like a sort of please share your wealth request by name to the 1,130 people who have it all.
Oh, God.
Anyway, yes.
This is probably a good point to mention Katie's email.
It is.
And saying thank you for an email. We like getting an email. And to say, who said that she thought we might be missing a thing in that there is a difference between income and wealth in our episode last week, which was about paying everyone the same. And I kind of want to go back and listen to the episode because I feel like I never shut up about the nature of wealth at this point because I sort of I've been learning more about it recently, so I'm slightly kind of concerned that apparently that didn't come across last week. It was an episode about income, so we probably didn't really sort of talk about where the wealth is coming from. And I guess at the end of the day, how is the wealth going to get to us except through income if we haven't started with it? But I sort of want to listen back to the episode and hear where I've sort of conflated the two and try and do better in future. But thanks for the email.
Thank you, Katie. How's Brexit going for you, Michael?
How's Brexit going for me? It's like COVID is having a bigger effect at the moment. But it's definitely it's more just a pain because my immediate thing, and I guess I've covered this on the podcast already, is just wanting to get some EU citizenship sorted again by an Irish ancestry passport or, marriage or whatever, dealing with the Italian institutions that sound quite terrifying. The dark heart of Italy, every time I open it and start reading it, I'm like, sounds good. Are you queued for how many days to get your work permit? It sounds like maybe if you're ready for it, it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to treat this as if I was doing a British version of it. I'm going to treat it as it's going to be a week of my life.
Yeah, or longer.
I'm going to enjoy it and hang out with people and make friends. But yeah, like being able to just sort of plan for the future and is definitely being like ruined by Brexit a little bit. But meanwhile, like COVID is the thing that is. I mean, it's just complicating everything, isn't it? Just,
it is, yeah.
Just we want to go to Italy, and it's just like a nightmare at the moment.
Which is where the EU is getting some, on the surface of it, looks like the UK is doing better than the EU at vaccinating people. So that's.
And do we know what the difference is there? Is it just that it's the Oxford AstraZeneca thing? Is
I don't.
That's like a German collaboration, isn't it? Like, sorry, here's some misinformation podcast where we don't really know.
I do know that they did that thing where Britain got their contract in place and they were like, oh, it's a big win for Brexit. But then lots of people were pointing out that they managed to make the deal based on EU law or something. So I don't know. But I think it made me feel it's made me feel a bit sick recently, looking at the whole, what appears by only reading the headlines to be quite a tit for tat sort of, we've got some more vaccines than you have and we're going to buy them. We're not going to let you buy them and they mustn't ship them to you and all this nonsense. But I have seen that as a result of this, the Russian vaccine seems to be going up in popularity. And I've had to back down my Russian prejudices and remind myself that if I go back to my early age schooling, I would have thought the Russian vaccine would be better than all the other. It's like, if I went back to the brainwashing of my grandfather, I'd be like, well, it's called Sputnik. It must be amazing.
There's definitely there's this, sometimes, I'm not against the idea of being proud of my country and thinking that we are good at stuff and thinking, hey, look, we've got this world-class research institutions and we're some of the brightest minds in the world come to our country and they work and and we create the vaccines and I'd like to be able to feel that way about, because it would make me feel less sick and disappointed about the fact that Brexit happened but yeah, we've got a good brand, but part of the reason that we do attract all that international talent surely must be some association with the EU that surely will erode now.
I think the other side of this is Brexit versus the EU type conversations feel to me I don't know, sitting in the corner and just talk, it seems very microcosmish. Whereas if you think about how quickly these vaccines have come to be, they have only come to be because of full and open collaboration between scientists. It's never happened before that, the DNA of the virus got decoded, I don't know what the proper verb is, within 10 days or something in China, and they released it in the open to the whole world, so every scientist everywhere could share the same data. That is amazing.
Yeah.
And that, that transcends all these borders. And
it's the opposite of the spirit of Brexit, this idea that, no, we need to set ourselves up as antagonists instead of, the fact that we're all in the same boat.
Yeah. There's now this whole thing, the phrase I've seen knocking about called vaccine nationalism, which is a distressing, I don't like the idea of it, really. But the other thing is if you the idea that if you vaccinate everyone in your country that you have solved the problem of the virus is utter horse. And also, never mind the fact that people will travel, things will travel. It's the fact that I saw somebody explain it the other day again, which is that if, let's say, the virus is bouncing around some highly populated poor country that can't afford the vaccines, it will mutate. Further mutations will emerge. So unless we're all vaccinated, nobody's vaccinated. It really is that simple.
Yeah. It sort of betrays a certain colonialist mentality, doesn't it? It's we're just gonna we're gonna all be immune, and then we'll just go and infect you with our smallpox blankets. You know, it's like it's kind of the same thing, same way of thinking about it. Like, well, no, it only matters that the people who happen to be on this island get vaccinated, because then we'll be fine and we'll win. Like, come on.
I mean, I'm absolutely delighted that my mother has been vaccinated. She's had her first vaccine. Brilliant. In-laws, they've all been jabbed. Well, two of them have been jabbed. Another one is, going to be done on Tuesday. My aunt and uncle are, but you know what I mean? It's great.
Yeah. Did you see that? I saw the headline, 40% of people have side effects from the vaccine. I was like, it was such a clickbait headline, because it's like, most of the side effects are having a sore arm afterwards. So I think you're over-egging that pudding a little bit with that headline, but fine, as long as people read it.
And who are you helping? To what end are you putting out clickbait headline like that, you knobhead?
This was like BBC, I think.
BBC, you knobhead. You need to sort yourself out. We don't need any... We've got vaccine nationalism, we've got vaccine... anti-vaccine. I mean, come on. We should all. I've been tweeting deliberately. Hey, my mum got vaccinated. Like trying to add the social proof.
Do you know that thing of, it's just like America's politics are so much more fun to watch and watch late shows than our own politics. I just get, like, it gives me this like pain in my chest looking at Boris Johnson. I don't want to watch him talking. I don't want to hear what Javid has to say. I certainly don't want to see what Priti Patel has to say. And it's like, but so I'm like sort of like avoiding all the British stuff because I just detest these people so much. And it's just like too close to home, whereas like the US stuff is like you just kind of eat the popcorn and laugh.
More like a TV show.
yeah. But although it just clicked for me this week, far too late, and the dollar is pretty weak at the moment.
Yeah,
against the pound. But I get paid in dollars.
Me
so
too.
Actually, like it's hurting me that America has been making such a mess, because I'm just like, it means I get $2,000 is like £1,400 now. I'm like, what? Oh, it's not very much. I want more than that. Why can't America? Go on, Joe. So now I sort of feel like I'm maybe a lot more connected to like care. Like I have more of a license to care about American politics.
My current day rate's been negotiated in US dollars. I was like, this is not what I agreed a month ago. Anyway, them's the breaks.
Anyway, yeah. So here we are, which is and
look at us with our first world problems.
Well, one of the reasons that like probably we don't have an awful lot to say about Brexit and the EU and all this stuff and the Tories, and it's just because it's flipping miserable to look at, and you really have to take a deep breath to click on one of those Boris Johnson speeches. And just because you just know you're just going to come out with a torrent of rage, the incompetence and the I don't know what, like, and still feel that at least there's some basis in like sort of objective reality that has been missing from the US for so long, and it's still propagated across so much media. So like we haven't maybe got all that much to say about it, but that's fine. The episode can end. How can this Harley Davidson still be being revved after like half an hour?
It might be mending something.
Mending. I mean, I know that's probably the answer, but can I complain about it still? Do you know what?
Go on.
When I was listening to these people talking about Brexit this morning, and all the nonsense that's still being spouted, and then seeing these real numbers, and actually that truck thing was a year ago, but do you know, I think they say it's called Brexit, but maybe we should be calling it Brexit. You thought I was going to make a serious point.
I did.
And then I was just making a portmanteau. And that's the end of the podcast. F*** it. Ivanka seems tired. I don't know anything about what's going on. It's just a perfect storm of informative content.
Yeah, Ivanka's got. Ivanka's me, not me. That's one side effect of parenting I've found. That for some bizarre reason, I have to stop myself speaking about myself in a third, whatever you call it, whatever the words
Third
are.
person.
Third person.
Oh.
Mummy is very tired today. When you do that, Mummy gets very sad. So I have to keep going, I get very sad. Me.
You're talking to a grown-up-ish.
It's like, but yes, it's a, but yes, I'm tired. I've forgotten my glasses. And I've got a huge spot on my face that now I'm watching myself with the video. I'm like, oh, I have to keep trying to hide.
I'll blow it out somehow, and no one will never know. No one will be any the wiser. All right. Well, thanks for listening to our podcast.
Yes, thank you very much for listening.
Was it grand? Sure. If you like the podcast,
it was all right.
It's all right. If you like it, if you want to hang out some more, why don't you go to grandpodcast.com. Now, listen. I'm adding something to the list of incentives because I don't know what it takes to get a Patreon supporter these days.
No.
You look at some people, they've got thousands of dollars a month, thousands of pounds, well, hundreds of pounds, thousands of dollars coming in every month, and we've got like 3. So surely you might like to support the podcast in some way. But maybe you're doing that by buying all our apps. But what I was going to say was Patreon support. If you go to grandpodcast.com and like click on something, it'll take you to Patreon. But like, listen, I'm literally doing a video episode that's an exclusive Patreon only video, so you can see the state of Ivanka. Sorry, that's not for me to say.
But you're right, yeah. Thank goodness that I've come straight from a workout as well, so thank goodness it's video.
I feel so terrible for saying that, but it's fine. You can and you get it like a day early. Not that you're gonna have a chance to watch it a day early, but it's fine. Like, you get it early. I'm putting it. You get early access to an exclusive video version of the episode, which has us, but also every bit of music that you hear, like, I make a nice little visual for it as well, like a little bit of video footage. You can see, sometimes I'm playing them. Last week, they were all live performances from my Twitch stream, just little snippets of that. It's played in the moment, and you can see that in the podcast. But do you know what else I'm going to do? If you tell me that this is one of the reasons that you signed up, I'm gonna get you a Grand Podcast mug.
Whoa.
So starting from the $3 a month subscription, I'm going to give you one of these mugs, like, which you can't see because you're not a subscriber, but I'm holding it up to the camera. But if you support us on Patreon, I'm gonna figure out. I don't know. It's not cost effective. This.
No.
It doesn't. We don't recoup it for like 6 months probably, but I think that's what I want to do for you as a supporter, because I think we can. I think. It's just a vote to show that what you like what we're doing. You don't have to think of it anything more than that. And like, maybe it gets to enough. We can actually start creating some more shareable content out of all this. We can sort of justify the time to maybe make blog posts or videos on YouTube, stuff that where we've kind of come to a conclusion with our talking. We can do some nice videos on it or something. There's so much we could do if we felt like this wasn't just a cost to us, an expense. Which it is, like, it's a day of work a week for me. So yeah, that's what, grandpodcast.com/Patreon. And then if people can't be bothered, where can they find you, Ivanka? If you just like Ivanka, where can you find
Yeah, I'm at Ivanka on Twitter. Do say hi. Drown out some of the Ivanka Space Trump people. That'd be cool.
I'm at Michael Forrest on Twitter, and I've started tweeting, so come and see what I'm saying. It's hilarious.
Mine isn't. I
read a thing that said to be funny on Twitter, so I was like, maybe I shouldn't just like use it as a dumping ground for my pain. Maybe I should use it to give you a smile.
I read a funny link last night, just to tell you. It's from the New Yorker. I'm going to share it, and I was laughing
in the Slack that you have exclusive access to
so
as a Patreon
hard. I was laughing so hard that Nick decided that I was actually delirious and had to get to bed. It was like, you are overtired. So I'll share it with you, and you can tell me if it really was really funny or I was just really tired.
Oh dear.
There you
go. UK allows emergency use of bee-harming pesticide. I don't think that sounds that funny.
That wasn't the link. That was my example of pro-Brexit media continuing to spout these, see, we were right. Look, the French are killing bees with pesticides. I was like, the UK is killing bees with pesticides. So actually, everyone's fucking at it. Don't make it all about the French.
All right, so let's say goodbye, shall we?
Yes, let's.
Hey, why don't you buy my apps?
Why don't you go to Brighton Natural Health Centre and do a class? Give them some money.
Give them some money.
Give them some money. Then you do it a charity. Do something nice for yourself and give the charity some money. Yeah.
Yeah, come on, get over yourself. Sorry.
If anyone still wants to tune in next week,
anyone still likes us.
Right.
When I'm happy, I start hurting people's feelings. So that's because I feel so sort of invulnerable. I think everyone else must feel invulnerable, so I really go in with the meanness sometimes. But I'm just joking. And then I ruin friendships and everything's destroyed.
Oh.
Next week we're going to talk about friendship.
Yes, we are. Great topic.
We've had some thoughts. So there you go. Imagine that, a teaser for next week. And with that, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.